Right everybody, let's have a little catch up on XRP. So before we go ahead with that, I'm just going to show you something which will relate to XRP, but XRP does generally take on a life of its own, and I know there's a swell event taking place, and I know that that's likely to create a pump and dump, but without that, putting that aside, let's just focus on one thing, which is this chart here. It's called the crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, or the total 2 on TradingView. What it is, it's basically just showing the health of the market, the amount of money that's involved with it, and this is all altcoins, all of them all together, the crap ones, the good ones, and the ones in between. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at rejections here on the 200 EMA. We are also looking at support on the 50 EMA. So this is going to create a bit of a triangle that's going to pop one way or another, and my expectation is that it will break to the up. Now we can make a little estimation of how this is going to go, and this is very, very, very rough, I should say, very rough indeed. But my expectation, and it has been all along, is that this wouldn't happen any earlier than November. I've been saying this for several months now. So let's just say this is how we're going to be looking before we make that pop, and it's going to be around December, but by January we're more than likely, if we carry on this way and if Bitcoin carries on this way, we'll have created that golden cross, and it's at that point that alts will across the board see huge significant moves. Now with XRP was a bit of an underperformer, let's face it. It was an underperformer this year, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an underperformer full stop. It looks to me as though it's more or less mimicking the way that this chart looks when it comes to supporting itself on the 50 and being rejected from the 200. When we see that kind of thing taking place here, being supported on the 50 and rejected from the 200, we do look like we're forming a golden cross in the making. Excuse me, that is not the right place for that to be, but generally speaking we're looking like we're going to be forming a golden cross sooner rather than later. So again around about that mid-December area, and it's at that point that we'll start to see some significant moves. Now with XRP, it's the same as a lot of these high market cap alts. I mean, this is one of the biggest market caps in alts. I believe it's the third largest. I'm pretty sure that's right. But its price never really got more than just over double of where it started before April, when we found ourselves forming the golden crosses. Now, it did sink down quite dramatically, but all alts did do that. But when we're looking at some of these altcoins, they have sustained value much better than XRP did. In fact, XRP trading now at as we speak at around about 29 cent, which is the bottom level of where we accumulated from throughout last year. So this area is a pretty important area, bouncing from this area many times, not breaking below it before we launched. Now obviously we touched it there, and we did break below it here, and then it started to look pretty nasty. But you can see how these indicators, these moving averages should I say, are very reactive when it comes to this. Now we peaked, we went crazy, we went mad at this level here, breaking above that level and being rejected pretty much, we could say, from it's the Ichimoku cloud at the top of that area where we were rejected from. So that obviously does play a role. But now we're out of that cloud and we're being rejected from this 200 EMA. Now again, same as this here, if we break above here and this turns to support, that's when we will basically be able to predict some big bold moves, maybe doubling in our values. But only until we do that we can get excited. Now if this swell event has the same or a similar reaction to the one that took place previously, we will be looking at making our way into the 30 cent area, maybe even to the 40 cent area before our pullback, which will be great for a pump and dump. But what we want to see is we want to see ourselves being supported on the 200 EMA, and then we can start to talk about making big bold moves up and away up and surpassing our previous high of this year. Now this is not going to happen until I'd say around January next year. Once the golden cross is formed, then we can really start to talk about essentially parabolic moves for alts, and XRP might be one of those coins that's likely to really go parabolic because it's still in top 3. It's probably going to be in the top 3 for a long time. It's very difficult for any other coins to surpass it. Even though it's an underperformer, it's got a lot of money involved in it, and it is growing as a business. But there is an enormous circulating supply, and I think that's its problem. I think it's got too high of a circulating supply for it to continue making huge moves like it did at the end of the parabolic run a few years ago. What we're basically looking for, to cut a long story short, we're looking at this here. This will dictate the move. This will also let us know where it's going from here. Sorry, my daughter's trying to go to bed. It's put me off. She's making a lot of racket upstairs. So where are we going to go in the short term? We have to wait this out. We have to be. We can look at sort of picking up short trades, bouncing on the 50 here, which is also trending upwards, which is good. Will be forming a golden cross, no doubt, but not until mid-December. So we've got about a month to maybe 6 weeks before we really do start to see big bold moves. Breaking above this level here is around 32 cent. It will be a pinnacle move for it. And it's at that level there, which we should be in as the golden crosses start to form on this level here, and that will spark another move back up to here, essentially almost doubling its value from where it is now. Now there are a lot of other altcoins out there that you might want to be trading instead of XRP, but I know there's a big fan base out there, so those of you who are holding it, you can start to get excited now because things are looking up across the board for the market, and that includes XRP without a doubt. But like I said, there are other alts out there that will probably be making a lot bigger, bolder moves, within the next 2 to 3 months than XRP. But for those of you who hold XRP, we will be seeing a 50 cent or even more XRP within the next few months. Definitely by January, I would expect to see this level hit again. No problem. Anyway, I will leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice evening. Take care.